All right, so today we are diving into the hilarious side of Irish culture with Lisa Kelly. So think tea that is stronger than your Wi-Fi, weather that changes faster than a TikTok trend, and the ninja-like Irish goodbye. But wait, there's more. We also have Mr. Scott Porter. So we're going to talk about the Irish culture where coffee is a religion, nicknames are mandatory, and even the wildlife is out to get you. So, Dia Hoots.
Dia Grit. Oh, Dia Smurgrit. Goodness, I thought to.
Claro que sí.
Very good.
Good day, mate. Good day. So that was written by ChatGPT.
That's all true.
And it is true. So that's what I want to go with. Are these all, I guess, just they're, I get in trouble with Max all the time about stereotypes. So, like, because it even mentioned potatoes. So, I was supposed to say, grab your spud and a flat white.
Yeah, no. That's the stereotype. The potatoes is the stereotype, but the tea is true. Yes, we have really strong Irish tea. The weather, I wouldn't say it changes on a dime. It's like always dull. It's never warm, except for the last 3 weeks. It's been like the Mediterranean there at the moment. But that's unusual. So the weather is very rainy, and we do ninja goodbye. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. It's an Irish.
So why? I guess where does that come from? Any idea? Because they say the Irish goodbye. I used it the other day. I actually told some kids about it because they were like, "God, I hate these graduation parties. We got 4 more to go, and we don't know how to leave." I was like, "Irish goodbye. You already said hello.
Yeah."
Just leave.
Just leave.
You don't have to say bye to anybody.
Yeah, no. You don't have to say goodbye. I think because we're such socializers anyway, and you're always kind of coerced into doing things. So if you go, listen, I'm going to go. They go, Anna, stay and have another pint.
It could take you longer to
and then everybody talks. And if you're on the phone, like years ago, it would be like, bye. Oh, hang on, wait till I tell you. So we're yappers.
Do you just hang up too? Can you do
that? No, you can't do that. But we text now, so you don't have to.
Well, we went to a party for Tanya's birthday, and I was worried because I wanted to leave. I wanted to be the first to leave because once it wasn't a large party.
Yeah.
And I figured once people start leaving, then you feel guilty about leaving because then you're leaving. And so I was like, all right, we just got to leave. We got to say anything. Because I figured they would go, oh no, stay for a beer, have a beer. But I didn't. I could not figure out how just to walk out because it was so small. So I just said, hey, we got to go. And they're like, all right, bye.
And then you were like, oh, being honest is the best. Yeah, sometimes being honest.
I think it might be 50.
Yeah.
Because they all understood at that point.
They're like, all right, off you go. Yeah. I don't know.
We did get a couple of them. We got a couple of them. It was like, yeah, we got to beat that storm.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It was the tornado was coming through. So,
yeah.
What other stereotypes would you say in Ireland that are true? Or what's not true, or anything?
So the one that drives us all mad most is that we're all alcoholics. Like that's really, 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 really not the case. A lot of it comes from our, every kind of like in Peachtree City, you have villages, so what are supposed to be villages. We actually have villages. Every tiny town had a bank and a convenience store, newsagents, and a pub and a church. And the only source of entertainment or, socializing was to go, because we have very, very small houses. Well, we used to. They're not so small anymore. Well, I mean, still small. But so everybody went to the pub to socialize. But if you go to a pub in Ireland, you're not going to find like a TV screen, or unless there's a match on, unless there's a really big football or Gaelic or hurling match on, you won't find. It's all about talking. It's all about everybody socializing. So like people really don't drink very much during the week. Right. They would go out on Friday and Saturday. No, I know they do, but like.
But to have a beer, but Australians are the same way.
Yeah.
Like when I visit there, my friends, a beer was just common to have a beer after a football practice or whatever. And so, but they don't get the same stereotypes. I think it's just something we just do out there.
Well, I think, when they emigrated here, they were really, really poor and they were based in New York and they couldn't get work. And it was like a depression, an actual depression. So I think really that is, and obviously, you go to Ireland, you see a lot of drunk people, but I saw more drunk people in Tokyo than I ever saw in New Orleans. Yeah. Like, you don't see that many drunk people on the streets. And if you do, it's merriment as opposed to fall down drunk.
Right.
So that's the one stereotype. What else is there?
Leprechauns.
There's the leprechaun thing. That drives me insane.
Is that not a thing at all?
It's not a thing, no. But then
so where's that come from?
I don't know. The folklore and the fairies. And we have a huge... Ireland was a pagan country for the longest time until St. Patrick apparently came and brought Christianity to Ireland. So it was a pagan country. So there's a lot of myth and legend that goes into Irish folklore. So people, talk about leprechauns, but I never heard about leprechauns as much until I moved over here, and I was like, what is this? And I spent years like debunking the theory, and now they have a leprechaun museum in Dublin. I'm like, that is purely for Americans. And we have McDonald's, and we have all those things. So I think people think it's not a very cosmopolitan kind of country, but it is. It's like super.
Well, evidently tourism has really blown up in Ireland recently. I don't know if it's the golf. I know Georgia Tech played there in a football game.
Yeah, they do.
That was a
every
big
year.
deal.
Yeah, they play all the time. Like Notre Dame were there the year before. They've started to do this over the last 5 years.
Okay.
And it's accessible. It's accessible for people to get to Ireland, and it's welcoming. Yeah, very welcoming.
Well, the stadium was incredible. The views were like, I don't know. Obviously, their camera angles and the way they pan probably makes it look like it's sitting on the cliff, but they sure made it look like it was.
Well, it's a tiny country. I mean, it fits into Georgia 7 times, I think. Like, it's really, really small. You get from one side of the country to the other in less than 4 hours. Yeah.
Well, that's why the little guys, they're a little small.
You're talking about me now.
You're not Irish. You're short for
So
Irish
let's
man.
talk about Australia, because I know y'all have some stereotypes too.
We definitely do.
Yes.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is that I think everybody thinks that we go outside our back door and there's kangaroos sitting in our garden. And it's not. It's not that they're not there, but obviously, like Lisa was saying, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, all the major cities are like New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in terms of size and population. So obviously, the idea of having a kangaroo in your garden is not realistic, even though people would want it for a pet.
So if you weren't in the city though, because I did visit Australia and I did see a few, but I guess that was pretty
out the bush.
Yeah.
As soon as you get out into the country. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just because we ate it. Now that threw me off. You eat kangaroos, and it's not even good.
I have to be honest. I kind of spent many
done.
years saying I wouldn't. I only ever did it once, and it was with my former boss when I worked for a record label, and it just felt wrong. It just felt like you were eating like
St.
a
Patrick.
mascot.
Yeah.
Just totally against
That's true.
It, you know?
It just
and it really
didn't-
wasn't to my taste anyway. It just kind of tastes like rabbit and chicken, you know.
Yeah.
So.
There's also a stereotype that you're really good at breakdancing.
Oh, okay.
But
Right. I think that's in latter years. I think I emigrated before that became a thing. But we can watch you do it.
That was great. I could do I could do the lead into.
Yeah, that was kind of epic. And it's
That was an incredible story. Do y'all know the
Yes.
story of like why she did it or how she did it?
I don't really know the background to it other than obviously the...
No, go ahead.
So evidently, now I'm probably going to mess it up, but evidently she like created it and then her husband or somebody was the one that voted and she did it as a joke. She did the whole thing as a joke
The
to
Olympics.
just, and then all of a sudden she's there and she's like, oh my God. Because evidently a lot of breakdancing is pretty big in Australia, just like it is here.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people that were really good. And then when she went, you wanted to clap for her, but that was terrible.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah.
God,
It was
was
awful.
over. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But there's nothing worse though when you do something like that and then you get all this support and you go, oh, maybe I'm really good.
Yeah.
Like you see it all the
No.
time.
You know that as a singer.
Or we see that all the
Yeah.
time. And you're like,
Yes.
oh, you look at American Idol and you see people like go up there who's, mom usually has told them they're really, really good and they go up there and they sing and they make a show of themselves and you're like, oh,
What do you think that is with the people that are just horrible? Is that just made up for TV?
Yes.
Because there's some people who are just garbage and they're like, oh, I sing at my church. I'm like, there is no way.
No, I definitely have a lot of confident people and a lot of people whose honestly parents have told them they're really, really good, and the parents don't have a clue more than anything.
Right.
It's kind of you get a lot of kids who have sung the anthem, and to get up and sing the anthem is really hard. I've never done it, so I can't speak. I refuse to get up and do it because it's so nerve-wracking. But like, there's kids that get up and they do it unaccompanied. So your child gets up, sings it. It sounds good to you because you can't hear pitch or you can't hear music. You think they're great. And the new thing with kids is they all start throwing in runs and riffs, and they do all these fancy Beyonce things with their voice. And as soon as you do something like that, people think you're great. If they don't know, they go, she's really good. And then they encourage the kid, and then the kid thinks they're really good. So,
Well, I think it's a small sample affects it too, because you even like kind of turn once when I have hit one note, because there are certain songs that I can actually hit the tune.
You can sing.
But but then there's a lot that I couldn't, like I could never do it professionally because I can't sing most songs, but there's a couple songs that I can mimic
But that's
the
normal.
singer.
That's actually normal for
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
because
the
songs are in
sound.
different keys.
Right.
Right.
So like, you know, you just didn't, if you can sing one song, you can pretty much sing most things. You know, there's going to be, okay, maybe you're not going to be an opera singer or you're not going to be a
Right.
classical singer, but like you can change keys of songs. And honestly, I've only had, and I've taught, I'd say way over 1,600, maybe
At least,
more
yeah.
Wow.
at this stage. Like I've only maybe three people that I've ever taught that like there's just
don't.
no hope.
Just don't.
No.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he's probably not watching, so we'll go ahead. But like Max's voice has changed, and
Yeah.
it's so deep.
Yeah.
It's so deep you can almost not hear him when he's talking because
Right,
it's deep.
Right.
And I don't know if he's just not figured out how to regulate it. But he's done a little bit of plays and stuff like that, and I think he was kind of got out of it because his voice was just not good. I mean, somebody like that, because I don't remember being able to sing as a kid either. I just
Yeah.
did it because I don't care.
Yeah.
Can somebody like that actually get 10% better?
Absolutely.
Because we just talked about it on a podcast last week, talking about lacrosse. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
you might be terrible at lacrosse, but you can be 10% better than you are today. Anybody can.
Oh, of course.
So-
Practice. And literally it is
habit
practice.
forming,
And
discipline,
learning how to sing properly, learning how to do things.
proper
And
instruction.
actually, there's a man who moved to Trilith who I met last week. And he's an opera singer and he did musical theatre. But he was telling me he went to school for architecture. And his aunt was married to a man who was an opera singer, and this guy was the aunt was married to a man who was a college opera teacher, and the guy was 22 and he was at the table and he was mimicking an opera singer, and the professor was like, "Oh, like seriously, is that your voice?" And he was like, "Yeah," and like at 22. Never knew he can sing.
Wow.
Never opened his mouth
just
to sing,
copying
but was
that
just
sound,
copying the
Yeah.
sound.
Was able to.
And as a Broadway star,
Yeah.
Wow.
Just had it. Yeah.
like you just done it.
Speaking of Broadway, you started at age 7 on Bugsy Malone.
But not in Broadway.
Not in Broadway.
Broadway.
It wasn't Broadway.
Good old Dublin. I
In Dublin,
did.
Ireland.
Yes.
So just to
very
kind of go through y'all's history really quick, you went
Okay.
from Bugsy Malone in Dublin, Ireland, to you created and founded all by yourself Celtic Women.
I know. No, I did not.
Yeah.
No, but you were part of Celtic Women,
Yes,
and
yes,
then
yes.
you have Irish danced all your life,
Yeah.
Scott, and so y'all met on Wiggles, right? You
No.
were
Yeah, we met in Riverdance.
Riverdance.
I did
Riverdance.
not know what the Wiggles
Yeah,
were. I
probably.
was the only person who didn't seem to know what the Wiggles
Yeah.
were. No, we met in Riverdance. So we
No,
both
we're
like,
both on tour.
yeah, we both.
And
grew
you were the
up.
lead singer. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now you've got 2 kids doing it.
Yes.
Yeah,
two
well-
Are
Jack
they
and
both going to be
Smith.
together?
No, Cian retired. Cian left
Okay.
last year. Him and his girlfriend came home and moved to Florida.
Yeah.
But his girlfriend's mom was in Riverdance with
That's
us. So
right,
Cian
as
and
well.
Faith
Yeah.
are the first Riverdance babies
To go on.
to go on tour.
First, second.
Wow.
The
generation.
first, second generation of kids. Well, there was one of the Russians' daughters
That's right,
went there
but
first,
Irish
but of
dancers.
Irish dancers, they're
That
the
should
first.
be like a TV show.
I know,
right?
Yeah.
and it's so cute.
Pretty
Like their
crazy.
story is so similar to ours,
Yep.
and they're just, it's just very, very cute.
So you're like, how hard did you have to push your kids to do this? Because your daughter's doing it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, not really. Well, how it.
I mean, you were there
transpired-
every day.
Yeah.
at the studio, so.
How it transpired was initially I wasn't even involved with Irish dance because I was producing. So I produced Celtic Woman, and we had like a folk band called the High Kings, and we were working with a record label and really into entertainment property,
Mhm.
basically worldwide. So it was really, we moved here
Yeah.
because we wanted to slow down. Lisa came off the tour. We had Harry, who was our 4th child, and Kean and Jack were playing football, American football, up here in Stiles Mill. And Kean came in the door one
Yeah.
afternoon and just said, "Hey, I really want to do Irish dancing." At what, 12, 13?
Yeah.
And I nearly fell over, as did Lisa. And that's really what started
Yeah.
that journey
Yeah.
back for me, anyway.
Yeah.
And for them on this.
Now, he
And
was
then
obsessed with it as
he
a child.
with
He was
it,
on tour
child,
with
on
us.
tour
Yeah.
with Riverdance, yes.
And like he would watch Riverdance videos and he would copy it. So he was always, and he's very musical and stage driven.
But they didn't just do it. They've like won championships,
Oh,
like
yeah.
world
World
championships.
championships.
Yeah, Jack did. Yeah, Jack just won.
Yeah, Jack just won the World Championships in Dublin about 3 weeks ago, which is the pinnacle of obviously what we do. So have that from not only your own family, but from
Yeah.
a kid who trained in America is pretty
So when
amazing.
does that translate into big money? Like that's like you got tap dancers now.
Yeah.
Is tap dancing even a thing anymore?
Yeah,
How,
yeah,
Is it? Is it?
I know it is.
It's
Yeah,
big?
no, it's still
Okay.
huge. Yeah, tap is
I
still
think it's
huge.
just creating your own brand. It's no different than podcasts or TikToks or
Loans.
whatever.
Because I talked to him about doing those TikToks. They need to pick that back up because they were really good.
Well,
Like
they call it massive traction.
They got massive. They went
And then they
viral
just
during
got a bit-
COVID,
yeah.
and then brothers, and it was
Yeah,
like,
they-
I
this
don't
is
want to
a-
do it. I don't want to do it. And then it was during COVID as well, and it was hard. But they literally, an influencer in Ireland picked it up, shared it, and it was huge. They
deal.
went huge, and then
A couple of music.
then other
artists picked
people
them
then
up.
start doing it. So then it's like
it's almost like the second person goes a little bit further because
Yeah,
it's already
'cause
people are
you're
looking
doing
for
so-
it. And
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you almost need like a Beyonce or somebody that actually
Yeah.
people know who they are
Well,
to
that happened.
to throw.
That
a-
just happened.
happens. The two girls.
Yeah, two girls.
One, Morgan Bullock, who was in Riverdance,
Yeah.
and then
Caitlin Sarden.
Caitlin
Caitlin Sarden, yeah.
Who we both worked with in different capacities. They're out on tour with
They're out on tour with
Beyonce
Beyonce.
as dancers in her
Wow.
arena tour.
Yeah.
So, which is amazing, and
It's
they're
amazing
both
for Irish dance.
black girls and
Yeah.
representing a minority within even our market is Irish dancing. So it's phenomenal.
Wow,
So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
that's impressive.
It is impressive.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
great.
Yeah.
It's so funny that like Irish dance took the world so much by storm.
Mm.
Like it just,
I think it's Irish culture, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The music, the stories, the dancing.
Riverdance was big. That was
It is.
big.
It is. It's
Just because
great.
we had never seen anything like that. And all of a
No.
sudden you have
I never
not
seen
just two
anything like
people,
that.
but you have a line all
I know, it
perfectly
was
in
insane.
sync. Yeah.
I remember, like, I grew up in Dublin, so there wasn't much opportunity for me to Irish dance. There weren't many schools close to where I lived in Dublin. Well, there weren't. There weren't.
There were. It's just
There
Lisa
weren't.
didn't do
But
it.
I was doing
You're
musical
musical
theatre,
theatre,
so
yeah.
I was totally removed from Irish dance. But
Okay,
once-
so I just picked that up. I don't know why. So you're Australian. How did you pick up Irish dancing?
Yeah, so it's actually my cousin's fault. So
Great.
my dad, it turned out, which I didn't know at the time, danced himself and his sister Lorraine. But I didn't know. So I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I was massively into baseball, which would have been T-ball at that age, right? And cricket and very Australian sports, crazy. And then my cousin actually came to our house to train for the Australian Championship. She's a good bit older than me. And she was dancing in the front room preparing for it. And she couldn't get some move or something. And
Yeah.
I was a precocious 4 or 5-year-old with too much confidence. And I was like, I can do it, And she was like, well, why don't you get up and show me then? And I did. I got up and did it. So they put
And
me in
nailed it.
classes.
Yeah.
Oh,
A
wow.
week later, and as it transpired, I found out then that my dad and obviously my auntie did it. My dad's side of the family are Irish. My mum's obviously English. So there's definitely lineage in there. So I literally danced competitively in Australia until I was about 17. And then went to Riverdance. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we met through fitness,
Yes, we
through
did.
Operation Boot Camp. So what?
Can you not tell?
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah, in the prime of life.
It was a few years ago. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. So what came first? Like what? Because you now are doing. Are you still doing Ironman? You said you're still riding, but you were doing Ironmans, and so
Yep.
is that just the competitive nature, just an outlet, or like what takes you to doing that?
Yeah, I think like the.
But you weren't doing that at all
It's
before.
just your competitive nature.
No, I think it's competitive. So I went from obviously touring and dancing, and then obviously it was a very corporate kind of job that I had producing. So it was a lot of travel, a lot of entertainment,
A lot of food.
a lot of food, a lot of drinks,
A lot of cigarettes.
a lot of bad lifestyle
I
choices.
love that they smoked a lot of
Yeah.
cigarettes.
Oh my God, that's how
Yeah.
he started with boot camp.
Yeah.
Like that was he quit
He had
cigarettes.
just quit like a
Just
few weeks
quit.
before.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Right, so I left the job and Lisa left touring, and then we built our own business here and opened the Voice Academy. And then I said, okay, I need to make some. With Harry arriving, I was
Yeah.
like, I need to change my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So at that point, that's when I joined it. Like everybody has their story, right? Quit cigarettes, joined the gym, plateaued, joined boot camp. You gave me the opportunity to be an instructor.
Yeah.
That led to me meeting people in the community that ran.
Yeah.
Started doing marathons, half marathons. That led me to kind of thinking I could do triathlon. Started doing triathlon, and then I went deep into triathlon.
Yeah.
as I'm sure you know, and went to the World Championships. Got very competitive in the age group. Was top 5 on the podium at 70.3s, and then I loved it doing 30 hours, 40 hours of training a week plus working.
Yeah.
But that kind of, I think COVID kind of slowed that down. All the races kind of got postponed. At that point, our business started to take off even more. I expanded into several different states with the business, and then that took me away from here, which took me away from routine. So I still get to run a little bit, but it's hard to kind of manage that.
You're
kind
better for it.
Okay. But I
You're
am highly
better.
competitive. I think my mindset is just now it's the coaching and the
Yeah.
teaching.
That's the
that is the
Australian
outlet.
in you.
It's the
It's the
Australian.
It's the
Australian.
Australian.
Definitely,
They're
I'm
like,
competitive. That's for
you
sure.
are
Yeah.
super
I think
competitive.
so, yeah.
Scott's sweating over
I
here,
know,
so
I
let me
like
get.
great
We got him
job.
sitting in the
Yeah.
sun, so
I was
I'm gonna give
clever.
you the shirt off my back so that you can wipe your face off if you would like.
Do you want your coffee?
I know.
I'll get your coffee.
Yes.
I should have worn an Australian t-shirt. I didn't even realize.
I'm so impressed with your T-shirt.
Yes.
There you go, babe.
Yeah, so I'm glad you don't hate me for canceling on you because I was supposed to perform at one of your concerts.
You were? That's right. That's a lot. Do you know that was a long
was-
time ago?
Yeah, that was foolish of you to invite me to do that.
David.
Yeah.
David.
But I was like
You were
a
there for the
20th background.
aesthetics.
Yeah, I was just a background guy. So, all right. So what are y'all doing? Because I actually went. I didn't know. I knew you had the shop in. Is it all one business or is it two separate? Your business, the voice training and the
Yeah, they're
Irish
separate.
dance.
They're separate.
They're separate, totally
We're the same
separate.
bricks and mortar.
Yeah.
So your voice academy here and in
No, I'm only here.
you're only here.
I'm only here.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
obviously
I'm
you can
on-
only do it.
Yeah.
But you're in Jacksonville and then somewhere.
Yeah, so I
Up
have
north?
we have two locations in Florida, in Sarasota and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
We have the one location here currently in Georgia, which is in Peachtree City, right here.
Yeah.
We have two locations in Virginia, which is Northern Virginia, in
Wow.
Springfield and Richmond. And then we have a base in Maryland, which is just south of Baltimore, maybe 10 minutes south of Baltimore in Catonsville. And then we also have a location out in Boise, Idaho. And then
Okay.
that's coupled with, we have 3 locations in Dublin, Ireland.
I was gonna say ChatGTP. Told me you had Dublin. I was like,
well. So we kind of that partnership with Elaine Kavanagh, who's the Kavanagh of the Kavanagh Porter. We started that in 2018.
Mhm.
So who is Kavanaugh? Who's the Kavanaugh?
she-
That's Elaine.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Elaine.
Yeah,
So she
business
lives in
partner.
Dublin. She's had a dance school for 25, 30 plus years in Dublin, and then we went into partnership as a transatlantic kind of Irish dance school back in July officially of 2018, and just kept working hard and pushing and keep growing, and yeah, it's been.
And their
fabulous.
minds-
So who should dance? Who should come just give it a try? Like what
Everybody.
age and where?
Everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Lisa was saying about singing. Now, there's definitely people that should not
No.
dance, but that doesn't mean that you have there's an opportunity for everybody, right? Like it depends on what your goals are. It's like with anything. So
Yeah.
I have plenty of clients who don't do competition, even though that's what we're known for, and it's certainly what we're built for, which is that high world level kind of type competition and that aspiration to get yourself to the top level. We have kids that just come, whether or not they play football and they want to cross train and get better footwork. We have kids who just
Yeah.
do it as part of their week because they love it. It's just something different, or it's just cultural.
Yeah.
Their parents are either Irish or want to be part of it,
Or their
just have a
grandparents
different
are Irish,
skill set.
usually, yeah.
So, and
So is
we
it
have
group
adults for it.
training or is it all individual?
It's group and individual, yeah. And we have people like who are in their 80s, 90s that do classes, and then we start as young as kind of 3 or 4. So it's
Yeah.
a big cross section.
Huge.
Yeah. So, but yeah, keeps.
Is there a
keeps going.
beginner class? Like really beginner? Okay.
Absolutely. We do introduction programs, which are the best programs.
Didn't
Yeah.
you do a class?
I did several
Yeah,
classes.
did.
At like 5:30
And
in
we're
the morning.
good.
I did.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but no, I did some of the evenings as well. I was trying to do those, and it wasn't the easiest. It
not
wasn't the
easy, no.
easiest
I
because
find it
you
very tough.
move.
Yeah.
Like you move through it, like it'd be repetitive. You'd repeat like the same move, and then I'd get it, and then you'd move to something else, and I'd get frustrated again. Like, oh no, I got to.
I was the same. I left it because he kept picking on me.
It was tough love.
It was very tough love. It's like, it's not fair.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a program for all. You know, it's like with you. I mean,
Yeah.
It really is.
Absolutely.
People who just want to feel comfortable singing
Yeah.
in their shower.
And people
come to
do
you.
things for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, some people, there's people I teach that literally just talk to me for 40 minutes. They're like, if I'm doing a lot of the online classes that I do, sometimes they just want to talk.
Yeah.
Just want to talk.
We talked about again with lacrosse. We talked about how it's also just an outlet to meet people, just to make friends, even for
Absolutely.
kids or
Yeah.
like if your kid doesn't fit in somewhere, then that might be something else that they can do.
Absolutely.
The community aspect of
It's
it
just
is
finding your
massive.
people.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's important you have like mentors. And I'm like firmly, we've always said this.
Yeah.
And when we opened up in Peachtree City first, it wasn't out of for me. It was a little bit of a lack of a bit of frustration in that I didn't know where my kids would fit in here when we moved, because I was like, there's very little if you're not a sport person.
Wow.
There's very little for your
Unless you
kids.
wanted to do
I
ballet
felt
or-
at the time, and we're going back 15 years, totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
totally different now. But like I really wanted to put in. So in most theaters, there's a place called the Green Room. And the green room is where everybody goes to hang out after the show, and like usually drinks or coffee or whatever. And I really wanted to put in a green room in the studio. We just never got around to doing it. But it was just so important for both of us that it was like, we're very lucky in that we fulfilled everything we wanted to. Well, I certainly did. You're way more competitive. I was like fulfilled. If I never sang again, touch wood, if I never sang again, it didn't matter. I had done everything I wanted to do. And I feel as a teacher or as a mentor, if you can get to that place in your life, you're not in competition with these kids or these adults that come to you to be teaching. So you constantly want them to be better than you, because that's now your goal. And that was a huge thing for us. Being mentors was a huge thing, and trying to give people a space to be their authentic self.
I seem to remember, like, really early in school, you talked about your kids not fitting in. I feel like there was a video of Jack really finding a way to fit in really quick.
The worm.
He did the worm at the gym. It was like, and like you said, like he didn't know anybody until all of a sudden he was the most popular kid in school.
Jack is just, he's just the funny. Keane's very like us, very kind of straight laced. Jack would say, "No, I've no friends. I've no friends at all." And you go out in the golf cart with Jack around everybody's like, "Hey, Jack!"
And we're all like, "What do you mean you have no friends? You know more people than we've met in our entire life." But that's
funny. But they did. They definitely found their people when they moved here, and they've loved growing up here. It was a good choice.
100%.
Really good choice for us at the time. It was hard. It was hard.
But I think transitioning when you're on your own as a family, you know that as a dad, like you have your network, right? So we moved by choice and through work and opportunity, and you know we're so grateful for.
But without anyone,
but it's just the two of us. So when we really did move over here fully, with now 4 kids, we don't have our parents here. We don't have our brothers and sisters. We don't have our childhood friends. So you're creating your life from scratch. So it's a great thing. So it's a great opportunity, but it's also challenging.
It was very.
But I think from our perspective, anyway, it made our relationship stronger because you have to do it yourselves, you know, and you're leaning on the community, but it's a new community. So like with that, I think.
It was a culture shock as well.
It was, but that growth has helped with the business too.
Absolutely.
Because we've been able to grow with the business as well as growing ourselves and our families. So I think that's been a huge key to our success too.
I think we all yearn for our kid to be the best athlete or the most popular kid, but then they're not around. They're not doing anything. Like I like that my kid wants to come home and wants his space in the house. Like
just
this is his
be
favorite
happy
place.
that your kid wants to come home. I really think that's the big thing. Wants to be with you, wants to talk. But even just wants to be like have their friends here, or that's just it's so important.
I love that about Max, because he'll want me in the room, but don't touch him and don't talk to him, because he'd be like, "God, why'd you ruin it?" Like he'll literally say that. It was like,
"Get out, Dad!"
Like he'll be like, "Watch this." It's like, "Oh, I can't watch this now," and he'll leave. So I have to like be careful. Like if he's sitting beside me, he'll even like lay on me. But then if I like move and put my arm on it, it's gone. It's over.
It's
He's like,
"Oh,
yeah.
That's
very
the
much
age.
so.
That's the age."
I do want to talk about Wiggles because I love that. So we'll try to put a little video.
Please
attached.
do.
I really did think that
I
we
know
got rid of them all, but you were one of the first
I
that
know.
surfaced this out of nowhere. I didn't even think Lisa really
I
truly
didn't get. I had to get it from Paul Paddock.
Yes, I know.
So I had to reach out to a Wiggle and go, "I'm really sorry."
Well, it is saved on my YouTube, so if you just go through the channel, I mean, what is that? What is that like? Because it seems a little creepy as an adult to see adults playing with kids, like at all levels. But I mean, obviously they're doing it. You don't hear a lot of stories about crazy stuff. They just, I mean, you got YouTube people, but you got our little kids are watching YouTubers play with toys. Like an 18, 19-year-old kid, he's unboxing a doll. And it's like,
well, I think with the Wiggles, to talk to that, I mean, they were all in early childhood education, and they were in university when they met, and they had a band, which I believe was the Cockroaches.
So they're called?
Yeah, and 3 of them anyway, they were in a band at university, and they were all doing early childhood teaching, and that's where they were a good band, but they were never going to be a big deal. And I think when they realized that, it became kind of organically, hey, let's sing a kid song, you know?
Yeah.
And I think their key to their success was that they were able to talk to the child and not talk at the child. And that came from their educational experience. So that was their breakthrough moment, was that when they would engage the audience, and especially the children who were their market, they were on their level straight from the get-go, not only in song but also in the way that they handled themselves. So they never saw them as adults. They just saw them as another person who's communicating. It could have been a dinosaur, it could have been an octopus, or it could be a grown-ass man, right?
Yeah.
But that was the key to their success. I mean, that's what drew me to even working with them, was that same thing, because they're just
They're good people.
They're just down to earth. Like, they would stand right here and literally, you know, crack open a beer and have a chat, or, you know, go for a walk, and they're just like normal, everyday people. And they're some of the greatest
great people to work for as
that
well.
I've ever met.
So what do they do now? What does somebody like that do now?
They're still there.
They're still wiggling?
They're still wiggling.
So Anthony, who's the Blue Wiggle, and his brother Paul, who is the kind of the backbone, the business side of it, they're still there full time. And then Paul Paddock, who's the Captain Feathersword who got you that video, is the original, Captain Feathersword. He's still touring. And then Greg, Murray, and Jeff are all back involved now. So I think they do like over 40s, over 50s kind of concerts now too, which is totally different. So they have all of these kids who've grown up with it that are now like literally it's like a rock concert and like, you know, like Party Town. Yeah. And then they still do the massive tours and everything.
You know, you say that. I've been to 2 weddings of like my nieces and nephews' ages, and they've played Blues Clues.
No
the songs. They'll play it, and the whole crowd they'll all sing it and go crazy, and it's like.
But there is something about I know isn't it Miss Samantha or Miss? There's some other kids entertainer at the moment. She's a woman that wears like overalls but all the kids are obsessed with her as well. There is something about an adult on TV talking to the kids. Like there's just something, they love it.
Yeah. But it's crazy. I mean, from my perspective, it was just an amazing opportunity. I learned very early on about hard work, dedication, making money. I mean, it was wonderful for me. And like, honestly, I probably never would have left working with them if Riverdance didn't present itself. I probably would have done it through college. They were just amazing people. I mean, I still talk to them. There's still a massive support to what we do even now. Like Anthony and both Paul congratulated us on Jack winning the world. Like they're just great
good people.
They're really good people. And there's always that joke. It's like, hey Scott, you're coming back. We're going to go on tour again. Like, you know what I mean? But that's the way. Once you're a family with people like that, you're always family.
That's awesome.
Always family. You know, so they're great people. 100%.
Awesome. Well, I was trying to lead this whole conversation because I wanted to go to U.S. stereotypes from somebody that y'all lived here for a long time. And we're not going to... We're going to ease into politics.
The stereotypes we thought.
What is a stereotype that we have that maybe we deny, but is so true? Like it's something about Americans that... You know, everyone thinks that we're very obese, and we always think that we're not, but we are kind of obese.
I don't think it, but that is the stereotype.
No, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
portion size.
Okay, hold on. Portion size. Okay,
we
portion
can
size.
go into math. Like, I mean, portion. You go to dinner here, and
it's ridiculous.
It's very big. Like you get a BLT. I only said this to Lisa the other day. I know it sounds really crazy, but you're getting like 15 slices of bacon. Whereas like if you were in this like Ireland or Australia, from my experience, you're getting like 1 slice of bacon and with lettuce and tomato. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So I think, you know, but again, like
I think I try and explain this to people all the time, like in Ireland or in America, so that people who haven't been out of America kind of understand the way the rest of the world sees America. When we get stuff from America, right? So when we get TV shows or we get, you know, you get New York, you get Chicago, you get Seattle, you get LA. We know Florida because of Disney, really. And then I know there was like the Beverly Hillbillies that we all saw at one point in Ireland. We had that too. But like nobody ever thought that was real. Whereas you see that, like, you know, ER and you see all those kind of things, you go, oh, that's real, or Friends, and that kind of the commercialized. So when people come to America, they go to New York, they go to LA, like they don't kind of go to Oklahoma and they don't go to Mississippi and they don't go, and you don't get to see that. So there's a whole portion of America that people don't know. And then they're surprised when it comes to political stuff because they're going, that's not what we thought.
Or who we
America
were talking
is,
to, or when we were at that
that's
restaurant.
that's
or that
the thing.
show. Yeah.
And I know America doesn't understand why the rest of us go, what? It's because like we see the America as this like, you know, fabulous, elegant, eloquent kind of country, the land of opportunity, the land of accepting everybody. You could be whatever you want.
You can achieve it. Yeah.
And it was funny when we were on tour. We worked with a guy who grew up in West Virginia but lived in Nashville, and I had said we were moving to Peachtree City, and he was like,
yeah, because we were living in New York at the time.
And he was
where
like,
are you going to?
Where are you going? I was like, we're going to a place called Peachtree City. And he's like, Atlanta. And I was like, yes, I love Atlanta. He was like, you're not from the South. And I was like, no, I know. And he was like, no, you don't, you've no idea about the Bible Belt. And I was like,
what he was talking about. Really.
So what are you talking about? I don't know about the Bible Belt. Like Catholic Ireland.
It's like, yeah.
And he was right. We didn't know anything about the South. And the stereotypes of America that I actually don't know. We get so much from America that it's actually the opposite way.
Right.
It's that we think you're something completely different to actually what America is. Like I know I wasn't prepared for how conservative America was. I didn't know that at all.
But I also think that that's back to the and it's a double-edged sword, but it's back to the media, it's back to the entertainment industry. A lot of that is liberal.
Yes,
right?
but
so
we
a lot
see
of what the rest of the world see, whether it be sitcoms or
makes
movies.
sense because Hollywood is clearly not representative of Georgia.
No, it's not. Well,
no.
now probably more so
A little
with
bit.
the growth.
Yeah.
But I do think that a lot of what's presented is from a media situation. So
and it leads to confusion then from the rest of the world because we don't see the other three-quarters of America. It's not even the other half.
Driving Miss Daisy, not Still Magnolias. That's
we did, but I don't
think I ever believed that. I thought that was more like
they believed that. They thought that was olden days.
Yeah, the olden days.
They're the Waltons. Like we have the Waltons. Everybody loved the Waltons, but it's like that was old time.
That doesn't exist. People don't think
people
that way.
People aren't like that.
Yeah.
And then you are it's actually
you don't know
could have been a reality show.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know until you
until you live here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that we've learned that because we've lived in a lot of places.
And there's such amazing things. Like I do find over the last few years, I do defend why we live here quite a lot. We've had to.
From the outside of America.
Because they don't understand.
Yeah.
But then, you explain to people, go, well, you're still paying 42% tax in Ireland and you're still doing it. And they're like, what? You're not paying 42% tax. So it's all very different when you move somewhere.
Well, I think that the hate towards America because what the media pushes as what we believe, because like with the Trump thing, they're highlighting the Trump rallies, which is such a small percentage of people that actually vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the growth of Trump is just the exposure of how all media and everybody just lies. And so now people don't know what to believe. And they don't care, so they just vote on. Vote on finances or church or abortion. I do hate him. He's lying, but the other guy was lying to me too, and right to my face.
I know.
And that hurts. And now, so people are like,
hard.
But do you not think that, and what I've learned anyway, and I know it's been very different, and this has been a very different last 10, 14 years, right? But a lot of people vote what's ingrained in them, right? And what has been what their parents did, or what's going to help them on a daily basis. And I think that part of that equation is not necessarily an international thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Politics in Ireland is kind of confusing.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you about politics.
Everybody kind of stands for the same thing. So it's just kind of like, unless it's extreme, right? So it's not, the division in the parties isn't like what it is here. It's a massive.
It's
you
who
know
you
that
are.
From living here. I mean, as you say, living in New York, you didn't feel it as much. But like from moving into the South, but you know what I mean. I don't, it depends on if you're money or your background. But I do think that a lot of the way that you lean, whether you're fiscally conservative, but you have liberal views, how does that translate on a ballot, right? And that was the biggest issue because I'm not sure anybody really wanted to vote either way. But they had to make it count.
Pick one thing that's important to them.
Maybe something that impacted their kids or impacted female rights, or do you know what I mean? And that may have nothing to do with whether it was Kamala or whether it was, Donald Trump. It had everything to do with your actual beliefs, your belief system.
But I do want you to know though that there isn't a hatred for America outside the world. There really isn't. Like we can compartmentalize, because I know Americans come to Ireland and they get the warmest welcome.
Yeah.
Like, I think the problem is when Americans come, they're not prepared for like the Barack Obama gas station that we have.
Barack Obama Plaza.
It's Barack Obama Plaza.
Which is where he's from.
But
That's a gas station. It's like, coffee shop and I think Burger King and whatever, but it's Barack Obama.
And we have like John F. Kennedy, like we have, tributes to him. But we do have the golf club in Doonbeg that's owned by Trump as well. So we're like...
No, there is definitely, Ireland especially loves America. There's no question about it. And even they love American culture. And obviously with the access now of media, and we sound really old by saying this, but obviously TikTok or whatever, like the first Taco Bell, she's opening in Ireland. And this is national news. Like
national, so excited.
I brought my
they're
my
going to go
nieces
crazy
to Chick-fil-A on the way back
There's
from Belfast.
one Chick-fil-A.
They've never been to Chick-fil-A. This is the first Chick-fil-A.
Wow.
And because of TikTok, they're obsessed. They are so excited by American culture. And I think because of TV and what programs
TikTok,
they're watching, Irish kids now are nearly trending more
American accents.
So we're coming together nearly now. So the culture divide is less because of media. But I think, again, at its core, I don't think it's hatred of America. I think it's confusion about how a population en masse can support some of the opinions of one or people.
Right.
That's it. And I think it's hard to understand that.
Yeah, and I don't know that you break. No one's breaking it down to go who voted against the other person. Who voted strictly on this? Because I know I have Catholic family that hate Donald Trump, but vote strictly on abortion. Period. End of story. Doesn't matter who it is. They're voting for the Republican Party. So I think a lot of people, I don't know, there's not a true representative of America. I think that's what's crazy. Not even close.
My confusion for this whole election was in, like, how could either party not have had, like, a backup plan, like, with other candidates? Like, it doesn't even feel like there's other people coming through. It feels like there should be an overhaul on both sides. But I don't think that'll ever happen.
Well, I mean, I think the problem with Trump is he was the biggest bully on the block. And nobody thought it was worth their career to challenge him. Because he's a horrible person to the way he speaks to people and about people. And if you can't win, if you don't have the confidence or the timing to win, so there might be people laying in the wings. They're just like, I'm going to let him have this day. And then they'll come on that, because that could be buried. Like Rubio, I think, based on him running for, I have zero respect for him. I don't even know why, just because I think Trump buried him based on a lot of the things he said. He just came across weak.
Trump's platform was, to some degree, like it was with Boris Johnson, who was in the UK. Was it Boris Johnson?
Boris Johnson.
It's anti-establishment. I think the overriding thing, if you remove politics out of it,
that's Conor McGregor.
I think as a people, and COVID really kind of exposed that even in a greater way. People are just kind of over being told this is the way it is.
Or this is what you have to do.
I have to pay loads of taxes. My medical situation's tough. I'm dealing with my own parents, and trying to help them through their senior life, or you're dealing with your children, and you're kind of like, no one's really thinking about the everyday, family. And I think that's what led to this bubble globally. We don't want the straight politician. We don't want the same thing. We want to shake it up a bit. And I think between that and, reality TV and COVID and, because I mean, in America, depending on the state, obviously, COVID was totally different than say Ireland and Australia. I mean, Ireland were locked down for
18 months.
18 months.
Australia
You're talking about not a 2-kilometer rule for so much of it, where that was it. You couldn't work. The government provided you money. You weren't allowed anywhere outside of your 2-kilometer to 5-kilometer range. And we're in Georgia, I mean, we were pretty much back into work.
We had no COVID after 6 weeks.
You know what I mean?
It was 6 weeks. I remember when they announced that, what was it? Vital personnel. What was the word for it? That whoever could actually drive on the road.
Yes, necessary.
Necessary, And I was like, Oh, I'm that.
Hey.
Like everyone like just said,
I have to teach singing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
are they pulling people
Yeah.
over for it? No.
No.
And so I was like, oh, I'll sneak out today.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realize, okay, everyone's out here.
Yeah.
Everybody was in Fresh
Yeah.
Market. It was like,
Everyone was everywhere.
Depending on
What?
where you were. But I
Yeah.
think,
So-
you know, in different states, like Maryland was far more stringent than, say, my Georgia or Florida businesses.
Yeah.
But we were the same. But, like, when you look at Ireland and Australia, I mean, Australia closed border.
yeah, you couldn't
I
get
can't
into
remember
Australia.
exactly the details.
I couldn't go
but
home
Wow.
unless I was
couldn't go to
vaccinated.
I couldn't go to
Really?
a
Oh,
funeral.
you couldn't go into
Yeah.
Ireland unless you'd had both shots.
Mhm.
So you had to have your shot. I couldn't go home. I didn't go
And
home
you have
till
to
the
have
following
tests
year.
to leave, and if you
Yeah.
got it, you had to stay quarantined there for
Wow.
14 days in like a hotel.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember Chloe going home from here,
Yeah.
and that was like in the earlier days of
Wow.
COVID. She went home and she was put up in a hotel for 2 weeks to make
Yeah.
sure she didn't
Yeah.
have COVID.
But and she didn't test, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at like Australia, like my dancing teacher's husband, Mr. Bob, passed away during it. He was like a second dad to me. I couldn't know.
Yeah.
You just want to laugh, you know.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And I mean, at this point, you're talking about America, even Ireland. At that point, we're back, but just
Yeah.
with the border being closed. I mean, I'm Australian
Yeah.
passport, couldn't get back in for a few
Wow.
months,
Crazy.
You know, so.
Like I think I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but
Hmm.
I really feel like it surely opened the window and gave ideas for ways that they could shut countries down.
Oh yeah.
Like you
It's
got the movie out where they all
terrifying.
the like how
Terrifying.
controlling they can be and how much fear they can put in
Mhm.
people.
And
Like
that was
my
the-
good friends
yeah.
telling me you're killing people for going to the store, and they were hate.
It did
Yes.
definitely
And I'm
divide
like,
people.
bruh, I don't know anyone that has COVID.
I think it divided families. That
Oh,
lots of
yeah.
people,
Families,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Especially in the
Crazy
south,
time.
I feel, especially
Yeah.
here, because it was like it was just a little less than everywhere else, where everyone else was told you're not allowed to go, but here there's a bit of a freedom.
Yeah, I mean, like I can only talk. Like we applied practices in our business to continue, and everybody was separated. And from a dance perspective, it's hard to keep people away from each other. Same with singing
Yeah.
in another way. But I mean, we had it all. We had a big space, so they had their chairs and numbers, and they went up on the stage one at a time, and then came back down, and everything got clerks in between. But I had a lot of kickback from my own clients that
Yeah.
were like, "What are you doing? This is crazy. We go to dance
Yeah.
for that
To get away from
interaction."
this, yeah.
Like, you know, and on the flip, we also had other clients that were like, "You're not doing enough." So
Yeah.
I think that was we were all learning as we went.
Think about that as
you
a
know?
church. Our
Yeah.
church lost a lot of members
Right.
because they held out longer. They did
Yes.
not go back. They did things in the parking lot for a
Yes.
while, and people were like, "We're tired of this. If you're not going to go back
We're gonna go
inside, we're
somewhere
going to
else."
go."
We're gonna go somewhere else.
Somewhere else, and they
yeah,
did.
I know.
Yeah,
And
it
they,
was
you
a
know,
wild time.
It was
Yeah.
a crazy
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
All right, let's have some fun.
Okay.
All right,
is
I've got
fun.
some.
Okay.
Yeah.
More
Now I'm worried. I'm a bit worried about that. Coming out of your mouth, that could mean anything.
No, these are just some. These are some Australian slang that
Okay.
you're going to guess.
Okay.
You're very
oh,
good at the
God.
Australian.
Yeah, mate. I'm good at
Might
18.
There you
That's
go.
my favorite number because I like saying 18. It's also
18.
my number for the
Hey.
18. All right. What is an arvo?
Afternoon.
Yes. What about an avo?
An avo.
Yeah.
AVVO.
AVO. Avo.
Think.
Avocado. Avo and
Avocado. You don't eat avocados in Australia. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You would have an avo for brekkie.
An avo for brekkie. Oh yeah, we have brekkie in Ireland as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, breakfast.
We know a Barbie.
Oh yeah, barbecue.
What is a bicky?
A biscuit.
Okay. A
Cookie.
brawley.
An umbrella.
Wow.
Look at you go.
We know what the bush is. What about the dunny? That's easy.
The toilet.
An esky.
It's the thing that goes around your drink, or the one you carry your drinks in.
Yeah, like a
Just a
Yeah, yeah, the
cooler.
big
Cooler in
cooler.
general,
Yeah,
yeah.
like your igloo. Yeah,
Like your igloo.
your igloo. They call them igloos there, don't you? Igloo. Or
That's
is
a
it the
brand.
It's a
Yeah.
brand.
This is
It's
my
a
favorite.
cooler.
My favorite is fair dinkum.
Fair thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good.
Thumbs up.
Honest, genuine. Lolly.
Lollipop.
I'm going off script, but fairy. What is it? Fairy bread? You
Oh,
have
fairy bread. I love
Oh,
fairy bread.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
like white bread, butter,
And
then
sprinkles.
And
yeah.
sprinkles.
My
I mean,
neighbor used to do that. Scott's never had given me fairy bread, but my
Oh.
neighbor was Australian and he
Oh.
used to do
Yeah,
that.
it's a big deal.
I loved
Big
that.
deal.
It's a big deal. Where else did I see it's a big deal? It's not just, is it Canada?
No, we maybe would it be the UK?
No, not the UK. We weren't allowed to put. No.
You're not part
I
of
know
the
I'm not part of the UK. Oh, yeah, that's also another stereotype. We're not part of the UK. But no, they don't put sprinkles on
I
bread.
wonder where that came from.
I don't know.
Yeah. Being isolated
Yeah.
on an island.
I love that this one gets its own word. Macas.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Macas.
Snags.
Sausages.
Oh, I saw that as well on my.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
And what is that? Oh, I love the. Well, I think that might be English, but the runners. What else do you call
runners.
shoes?
No, we call them runners.
Just runners?
Trainers.
Trainers.
sneakers.
We don't call them that. 'cause
Trainers
that's
are more
way too
cleats,
American.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Would you
We call them runners and cleats.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would call football
Yeah,
boots cleats.
I call them
shoes,
trainers.
yeah. Volleys for a while because you get unlocked volleys from Target or whatever. You know, those white.
They have Target
shoes.
in Australia.
Wow.
Target
We
was
don't
an
have Target in
institution
Ireland.
Australia,
Yeah.
yeah.
Crikey! Do people actually say
Oh,
crikey?
Crikey, they do.
Is that just?
Yeah,
Say
you
crikey.
do. You don't.
No, I don't.
But they do say crikey.
Again, it's
Crikey.
not
Crocodile Hunter.
Oh, they all do. Oh, that's not a knife.
We know a bloke is
A boy,
a person, a friend.
bloke, fella,
Yeah.
your man.
I like this one. Y'all need to use this one. Chuck-a-sicky.
Oh, to ring in
Oh,
sick for
that's-
work.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Chuck a sickie.
Yeah.
Um, all right, Scott, your turn.
Oh, nah,
You
I'm
should
gonna
know
need
these.
help.
This one I found on TikTok. A ride.
Ah, he knows that. You're a ride.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
That's the
So how do you
problem.
pronounce this? Is it crack? Crack?
Yeah,
Crack.
what's the crack?
What's the
So
crack?
it's
What's the crack?
What's
You're a
what's the
good crack.
scandal, or you're fun, or have you got any stories for me?
Okay.
Let's go for the crack.
Yeah, let's have a bit of fun.
So that's a gas.
But not crack. Like,
But you can't have crack. Like, you can't
You
say
can
have
have
good
crack.
crack. That's not like
So crack
it's,
is whack.
It's part.
Yeah.
It's kind of like crack is
Well,
whack, but
C-R-A-I-C.
AIC. Yeah, so it's
Right.
fun. It means fun.
You have to be very careful around people that aren't Irish saying that.
Yeah. Do you want to
But I try to educate a lot of my students about that. because, yeah.
So what is the dry shite?
Dry
Right.
shites.
Just
Oh,
make
Dry
it's
sure
so
shite.
boring.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dry
Dry
shite.
shite.
All right.
Personality.
But you have to say it a certain way. You just like dry shite.
Oh, okay.
Like there's a way
Painful.
to say
That's
these
where you
things.
have an Irish goodbye. Because
Ah,
you're at a
'cause
place
It's dry
where-
shite.
it's very dry shite. Or they could be acting the maggot.
That's
Acting the
right.
maggot.
That's right.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Okay.
have many connotations, really. But
No,
really
acting the
it's
maggot's just being
a
a fool.
Yeah.
Yeah, being an
But it-
agent.
I'm sure we have tons of those, but like
maggots.
no, just like sayings that
You do,
aren't
yeah.
literal. They're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you do.
I think it's because you absorb all these sayings when you live in all these
Yeah.
places.
oh, I didn't think all the shit these kids are saying now is
Oh, yeah.
incredible.
Oh,
I
skibbity.
can keep up on it.
I don't
now.
remember
Yeah.
any other generation doing this.
Well,
no, we had
yeah.
like awesome and tubular, like 5 words. They could say a whole sentence.
They
Yeah,
do,
their
yeah,
whole
yeah, they're
language.
crazy.
It's a whole
Yeah.
language.
Because I teach kids a lot.
We
with
get
my
to hear
market,
a lot of it.
and I spend a lot of time with my
Skibbity.
own kids. We're traveling and working. And I
Fire.
sometimes come home and Lisa's like, "Okay, can you talk like your age, please?"
What did you said yesterday?
Yeah,
You said
I
something
don't know.
yesterday. You didn't say chat. You said something to me yesterday.
I
I'm sure you're not a teenage girl.
Yeah.
Stop this.
There you go.
Well, the cap and no cap,
The cap.
that
good.
Yeah.
But
that's
now it's
spitting.
not
There's a
tea
couple.
anymore. It's law. So
Folklore.
you know how it used to be tea. Like, what's the scandal? Like, what's
What's
the
going
crack?
on with them? Like, why are they dating anymore?
Yeah.
Here's the tea, right? As the gossip.
Yeah.
Now it's lore. So it's not tea anymore. Now
Okay.
tea is you're perfect, like to a tea, and it's flipped. Now it's like lore, like
It's the
folklore.
lore. Yeah.
I thought it was spill the tea, like tell
Not
me
anymore.
concept.
Not
That's,
anymore.
that's what-
Out.
Oh.
2023,
2024.
It was actually 1940. Actually, they brought it. They stole that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max has a new word every day, and he loves to say stuff right in front of me.
So you're like,
and
you're
I'm
like-
like,
And he's waiting for you to say,
What
is
is
that?
it?
And then
yeah.
You're so
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, but I will. I'm like to his friends whenever I, especially if they're young ladies, I go, "Hey, I'm risen today, right?" And they will die. Like they'll think it's the craziest thing. Like, "Oh, your dad is risen," and then Max is like, "You're never coming again."
Yeah, never bring it
Never
back here
coming again.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. I do have a
much fun.
game. I'm gonna let y'all play together because it didn't work real well with 2 people. So this is it's 10 seconds. I'm gonna give you
Okay.
10 seconds to name as many fish, anything underwater counts, as you can think of. And we're just counting to see who can get the most. All
Oh,
right.
he'll win. I'm Irish. Don't go in the sea. Don't be
All
ridiculous.
right.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Oh, she's definitely gonna win.
Okay, I got it.
Are y'all on the
Yeah,
same?
yeah.
Right. Just both of you.
Yeah.
Both of you do it at the same time
Okay.
without us saying. All right. Ready? Go.
Dolphins, sharks, eels, octopus, dragon, clownfish, goldfish, trout, salmon.
Time.
I got 8.
That's good.
But some of them aren't in
They
the
are
sea.
in the sea.
I
Yes,
think
they
we
are.
got
So the
one.
In
rules, the
Ireland.
rules of the game are 96 Rock, the radio station. You should do this every time they'd interview them. And it was so funny listening to these people just, some people would freeze and they'd get two.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even come up with anything under the sea. And then some people would start naming cartoon characters
Oh,
and,
SpongeBob.
and anything.
Right.
And he'd count them. He's like, there's no rules. I didn't give you any rules, so you can name anything on the sea. And so,
Oh,
it's pretty
Fortune, the
cool.
Titanic.
Yeah.
So much more coming
Just
to my
let
head
her
now.
read.
The
I don't need
Titanic.
to.
You're gonna let me
No,
win.
yeah,
Oh.
I'm good. I'm not competitive, see. No.
Oh my
you
God, that
definitely know
killed
that.
you
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say that.
No,
Like,
I
it just
did.
stood
No,
right
I'm
there.
not sweating right now. I'm good.
The Titanic is from Ireland.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it was
is.
built
Built in
in
Belfast.
Belfast.
He built that. I saw a TikTok. He's like, we built the Titanic, but we did not build icebergs.
Yeah.
I was like,
This is so
fair
true.
dinkum.
Actually, the Titanic. If you ever go to Ireland and you make your way up to Belfast, the museum is unbelievable in
Yeah, the
Belfast.
history and everything.
Stunning. You should go to Ireland. I've always
That's the
said
one
this
thing.
to
It's
you.
just such a
I wanna
great
go.
You
country.
would score in Ireland. They
Alright.
would just be like, David is the perfect American to go to Ireland.
Yeah,
Perfect. You would have so much
you
fun.
have so much fun.
So much fun.
And it's
You would.
something for everybody.
going.
If you're into
Yeah.
sport and golf and stuff like that, they have all of that.
Yeah.
Rugby, all the sports, but they're all just the social side.
It's just
of
the
it, and
social side.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on what you're into, but it's an amazing
Yeah.
country.
Was it bad that I just want to go for the pubs?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
that's
But that's
the
the
only
thing. We
reason.
just established
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the social scene.
Okay.
But no, honestly,
Oh, no,
yes.
yeah, it's the best,
You would just
best
have the
food,
best time.
Best drink,
Oh,
best
the food.
culture.
So if you were planning a trip, last thing, if you're
Yeah.
planning a trip to Ireland, where would you tell somebody to go that's not your typical?
But
or
it's
maybe
not
it's a
touristy because it's small. So everything, the only thing I would tell you not to do is the Blarney Stone. For me, because I know that's just an American thing. Everyone goes kisses. I know what people do to stones in Ireland.
I think in
coming
terms
out of the bar,
coming from
there's no way.
Kerry all the way up to Wild.
Is there one Blarney Stone or is there a
Just
bunch
the
of?
one Blarney
So people
Stone.
piss on it?
Of course they do. Well,
Well,
no, they're
no,
not
they're
allowed.
kissing.
No, they're not allowed.
No,
So they
but-
hang you back like this. and
No
then
Irish
you
person
flip
would
up.
do it. There you go. No, let's just say
You're
no
gonna
Irish
have
person.
people
Yeah,
riding
people
in
are going.
So
I
don't
get
even
I
touch
get
it.
Yeah.
Don't go near the Blarney
'Cause it's
Stone.
probably-
But do the wild
She's a
Atlantic
city
way.
girl. The Wild
I'm a
Atlantic
city
way on
girl.
the West Coast is phenomenal. Kerry.
Stunning.
Coast.
So
Go
just take
away.
a hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have enough alcohol that you'd be like.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
That's
You'll
right.
be
Completely fine.
sanitized naturally, yeah.
It's just such a beautiful
Fabulous
country, isn't it?
country,
It's
yeah.
just so much
Just the weather.
fun. And you can do it like we always laugh. Irish people always laugh. Americans come over and see the country in 10 days. I hadn't seen much of outside Dublin until I met Scott. But like there's just so many beautiful parts.
Yeah, people from
But that's
America will
crazy.
come in 3 days and see
Yeah.
the whole country.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, to take a trip to Galway, it's 2.5 hours on the motorway. Like, that's a holiday.
It's a holiday. My mum and dad
It
did like
still
stay in a
makes
hotel on the way
value
down.
Wow.
That's still a long way. So when I first moved to Ireland back in 2002?
2002? Yeah.
Like they joke and go, oh, it's all the way down in
Cork.
wherever, Kildare or whatever, which is county outside of Dublin. I'd be like, well, how far is that? And they're like, oh, at least 30 to 45 minutes. I'm like, you understand it was like 2 hours to get milk in Australia. Like, we would drive from Sydney
Yeah.
to Perth, which is like LA to New York.
Yeah.
People do that.
Yeah.
Like Americans drive. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
People commute to work. In
Which is why
Atlanta,
Americans
it takes them
see
an
it.
hour and a half.
Yeah.
In Ireland, going to Galway for 2.5 hours, pack a lunch, see you next week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
When we
Americans
say
come
that,
over
I'm
and they've got it.
I'm not going to Target because this other side. of
I
town.
won't go to
Like, I'm
Target
like-
either. Yeah. I avoid
Yeah.
Target.
That's way
I'll
over
drive
there.
to Atlanta
Like,
for
that's-
food, but I won't go to
Yeah.
Target.
I'm not going all the way over there. That's forever.
Yeah.
We'll
So.
bring you someday.
We are doing it on a golf cart though too, so that's
Right.
it.
Right.
Really
That
is.
That is
you
a
know.
long way.
That's fine,
It's a
so.
long way.
Thank y'all so much. I'm
Thank
so glad
you.
that we have just stayed friends. Like you said,
Yeah.
we've not seen you in forever,
Yeah, too long.
but yet
Yeah.
you'll reply to a text or a Facebook post, and we just stay connected that way, and it's awesome for the both of you.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Good friends.
One of the people that made Peachtree City
Yep.
great for us.
Yeah, you
Oh.
made Peachtree
Yeah.
City great.
There
for
you
us.
go.
Yeah, always,
Yeah,
Always.
always. Yep. Yep.
always.
wow.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. The end.